in this state, the New York Attorney General's office oversees a lot of different industries. But what I want to do is professionalize this office. This office is not responsive to the needs of the people of this state. It lacks a lot of coordination, and it needs to be professionalized and streamlined to where people aren't waiting a year and a half to get a license. People aren't waiting a year and a half to get a piece of paper stamp. So what we are going to do is remove the politics from the office, professionalize it, and make it responsive in an efficient manner and a timely manner to the needs of the people of this state.
Thank you. Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for these four men. There's four gentlemen that respond to this brother's question. Anyone here in this audience would like to ask a question? I must, on behalf of that individual, I'd like to apologize for that. Anybody, anything, you ask any question, no problem, we're not really offended, but you just think before you speak. I want to tell you guys one thing. With this election, normally as individual, when we want to get to a better path, sometimes we cross the bridge or we cross the road to a different way. This election, you feel free to cross or cross over from Democrat to Republican. There's no fear about that. There's no changes. There's no fear. Have no fear. You feel free to make that change and cross over. So take the pleasure from a Democrat to a Republican, from top to bottom. When he said R, Republican, remember that. Folks, on behalf of my fellow Guyanese, please give your support to the Republican Party that has interest not only for this country, but for us as citizens of this state and this city. And most of all, a white cross-section of the United States of America. I want to tell some folks in this audience here today, if it wasn't for a Republican government under President Trump, there would never be a PPP government in Guyana. There will never be democracy in the true sense. Yeah, I want to tell you guys, President Trump was very instrumental, and he orchestrated that his representative takes measures to restore peace and fair and democracy election in Guyana. So not who the media pointing fingers and, well, they say fake news. I support that line, fake news. Please remember to vote Republican. If it wasn't for President Trump again, there will never be a PPP government in Guyana. And democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 will be the big day. It's called Judgment Day, where Republican will take this United States back in full control. Any folks would like to say something here, please come free. On this ballot, on this information here, this is reflecting that way you should say no on the ballot pertaining to these conditions. When you go to the polling station, I think you'll be having something of this nature. Vote, say no to all these changes. You have a race theory. Pardon me?
I have a question.
Please come forward, face the crowd and ask the question. Come from this way.
You want me to hold your camera? Yeah.
My question to you, sir, is this little of the campaigning today. Is the Attorney General, Alita James, is she stepping out of her contest? Is she abusing her office to saying that Guyana government is a racist government, that the Guyana government don't treat the black people properly well? I would like to know why she go on public record on a big stage in Brooklyn saying that the Guyana government is a racist government. Can any one of you guys knows about Guyana government? Can you talk about Guyana government and let the people here know what this government is doing for the Afro-Guyanese in Guyana presently now and what they were doing before 2015? Someone, can you please answer these questions?
Well, the problem with what Letitia James did is there was someone who is threatened not only political violence and been involved in political violence in Guyana and has multiple warrants for his arrest, including for terrorism, racial hatred, and much more. He's trying to incite and threaten people here in this community, saying that individuals should try to disrupt businesses and homes. And people here should not be threatened with political violence, especially political violence from an individual who's unwanted in another country. What I would say, what's going on here is this is just a pattern of Letitia James being pro-criminal. She has a soft spot in her heart for criminals. She is a pro-criminal, anti-police activist. This is an individual in 2018 who campaigned on cashless bail. She got what she wanted and it failed. And she could say that people say inaccurate things. We saw the video of your debate in 2018. You said, I've been fighting for cashless bail basically your whole political career. She got her start in politics in the Working Families Party. She was too far left when she ran for the city council for the Democrat Party to endorse her. And this year, she took an endorsement from that same party who said you cannot revisit any changes to cashless bail or take support from police and correctional unions. She said recently she needed to see more data, and quite frankly, it's a despicable mindset for the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of a state to have, because more data means more victims, and one victim is one victim too many. And the problem with her is she does not believe in law enforcement, and she does not believe in the rule of law, and she's engaged in election denialism, in contrast to what the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, the EU, and many Afro-Caribbean nations have said. If the things that she's claiming were going on, why are Afro-Caribbean nations standing up for the government of Guyana? The problem here is she probably didn't know the information, and she wanted to just celebrate her friend. Rickford Burke is Letitia James' brother from another mother. She's endorsed his behavior. She stood by his behavior. I promise the Indo-Guyanese community and the Guyanese community as a whole, when I'm the Attorney General, nobody is going to get away with threats of political violence to your families, your homes, and your businesses. And this is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's an issue about human rights and decency.
You want to say something to that? Ladies and gentlemen, our Attorney General, to be, said something there. Put your hands together back for him, please. As a Guyanese in this foreign land, I very much appreciate you guys' concern of my country back home, based on what has recently transpired in Brooklyn, based reflecting racism against our country, our party in government. There's no, from since day one. Go ahead.
Nobody endorses racism, but what Letitia James does is she's a professional divider. Whole career is based on dividing people, whether it's party, whether it's race, whether it's religious affiliation, whether it's sexual orientation. We've had enough. We're all New Yorkers, we're all in this together, and when I'm running to be the Attorney General, I'm going to represent everybody regardless of your race, gender, political orientation. She's a professional divider, I'm going to be a professional uniter. And I'm going to represent you even if you didn't vote for me, but you all need to vote for me, because you will get the change that you deserve. Stop the division, start uniting.
United we stand.
And I just want to say something for the gentleman who asked that other question before, that unlike Democrats, you can ask us anything. We Republicans respect free speech. We may not like what you're saying, we may not agree with what you're saying, but you know what? We're not going to shut you down. So you want to come afterwards, ask any of us whatever questions you have, you can. We're not going to take that right away from you, because that is the basis of democracy. Somehow this notion of the way to save democracy is to undermine it by making sure you don't say anything I don't like. That's not democracy. That is the tyranny of the Democratic Party, and under one party rule where there's no checks and balances and there is no diversity of opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to acknowledge an individual who was very instrumental in making this event happen. There is no other than Professor Charles Singham. Put your hands together for him as a concerned Guyanese and a concerned resident or citizen of New York State and USA. Put your hands together one more time. Make some noise for him, please.
Thank you, MC. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. We expected a larger crowd. I told the candidate we'll have a huge gathering here today. For some reason, they couldn't make it Saturday afternoon. But I want to let you know, please spread the word. Vote Republicans along the way. This time we need to change the dynamic of the country. And the country, look at New York. We have a democratic state. We have some of the most terrible crime. Look at the subway. Look at our education system. Look at, 2 years ago, gas price was $2. After the election on November 8th, you know what? Gas price will go back up to over $4 because Joe Biden will not release more oil from the reserve. You will have to pay to the pump. Guys, let's vote Republican this election. Get elected to the Senate, to the Congress, to the Attorney General, to the Controller. every state that every office we are running for, we ask you to please go out there, vote Republican this time around. I know the Richmond Hill area is a strong Democratic base, but this time around, they will vote Republican. Please tell your friends, your family, go and vote for our guys. And we want to thank you so much for coming out, and look forward when you elect them on Tuesday, they will come back to our community to meet with you to get all the issues. And I promise you they will address every single one. I know we have Deborah Mizir here who worked in the Bush administration. Deborah, you want to say a few words? Quickly.